Good day to everyone joining us and welcome to today's XTalks webinar. Today's talk is entitled Pharmaceutical Serialization, the Challenges We as a CDMO are Facing. Today's webinar is part one in a three-part webinar series titled Routes to Address the Real Challenges in Serialization. My name is Sarah and I'll be your XTalks host for today. Today's webinar will run for approximately 30 minutes, and this presentation includes a Q&A session with our speaker. This webinar is designed to be interactive, and webinars work best when you're involved, so please feel free to submit questions and comments for our speaker throughout the presentation using the questions chat box, and we'll try to attend to your questions during the Q&A session. This chat box is located in the control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. If you require any assistance, please contact me at any time by sending a message using this chat panel. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. Please note that this event will be recorded and made available for future download. Now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today's event. Christian Gross is the Manager of Packaging Technology and Project Manager Serialization at Aesica Pharmaceuticals. As part of his role as project manager, he has driven the implementation of serialization and aggregation at Aesica's facility in Germany. Christian has over 20 years' experience in the pharmaceutical industry. He started his career as a packaging technologist at Schwarz Pharma before joining Aesica in 2009 as head of packaging technology and artwork services. So without further ado, I'd like to hand the presentation over to our speaker. And Christian, you may start whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Sarah, for introducing me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone in the session here. Welcome to my talk on pharmaceutical serialization, where I will be discussing how CDMOs are addressing some of the challenges facing the industry. Why we are talking about serialization, why it is important. At $200 billion annually, fake pharmaceutical drugs make up the largest global counterfeited market. Today, it is estimated that up to a third of the world's prescription drugs are counterfeited, but it is closer to 2/3 in some developing countries. Of these drugs, more than a half are life-saving drugs, for example, as treatments for malaria or tuberculosis. According to the Interpol, more than 1 billion people die each year from counterfeited drugs. Global health authorities are trying to contract this problem by establishing deadlines for serialization mandates to support the identification of counterfeited medicines. Where we are in the industry, serialization legislation is already in place in countries like Turkey, Brazil, South Korea, or China. It is coming in effective in the US in 2017, and it will be required for all prescription drugs in all EU countries by February 2019. Different countries will have their own individual legislation and requirements, and pharmaceutical companies will need to meet the needs for all those that they operated in now, and prepared for the future legislation coming into effective. Across the industry, we're seeing a differing level of preparedness, depending on if the pharmaceutical company is already serving a particular country with legislation in place or not. Now, let me ask you now if you are prepared for serialization here.
Great, so we've got a poll question for the audience today, and that question is, as Christian said, how prepared are you for serialization? Are you very prepared? Serialization solution is already in place. Prepared, so you're in the planning stage. Somewhat prepared or not prepared. So that question again is, how prepared are you for serialization? Very prepared, prepared, somewhat prepared, or not prepared. And it looks like the majority of the audience has voted. So we'll close the poll and we'll share those results later on in the presentation. Feel free to continue with your presentation, Christian.
Okay. Since serialization is a complex process, pharmaceutical companies may choose to outsource this capability. Either way, flexibility and reliable serialization solutions are required that can be tailored to meet varying countries' legislation. During this presentation, I will discuss how CDMOs like ourselves are meeting this serialization challenge and give insight into our strategy. I will talk about one of our serialization projects and give you the details about the general requirements, scope, and areas are involved. And finally, I will share our key learnings. How are Aesica meeting the serialization challenge? As a contract development manufacturer partner for active pharmaceutical ingredients and finished dosage forms, we support our pharmaceutical customers meet their goals, including helping to ensure patient safety and helping to prevent fraud. It was extremely important to able to provide our customers with a serialization solution. Since 2009, we are invested millions in serialization module that is flexible and scalable. This module can be adapted to meet varying country legislation. Our serialization capabilities is implemented and fully operational across our business at all of our packaging sites. Our production lines first went live in Italy in 2013, so we have been doing serialization for about 4 years now. And we are one of the first CDMOs to have implemented serialization. This is our first serial number, which we have produced on the 15th April 2015 in Germany. From this date, we have supplied hundreds of serialized batches. Here you can see our machine at our Monheim site in Germany in action. Before you start with serialization, you have to find the right strategy. At first, you have asked yourself, what are the risks? Is my product interesting for counterfeiters? Is my product already faked? Or what are the sales volumes? In which countries I sell my product? Not in any markets is the same risk. Does my product have high margins, or I have high development or marketing costs? These are questions you have to ask yourself to find the right strategy. If you have answered all these questions, you have to find out a multi-layer approach, the right strategy. Every layer increases your safety. On the bottom, we have the product integrity. That means to protect your product against manipulation, like tamper-evident labels or glued box. On the second layer, we have the product authenticity. That means to apply hidden or open features, like hologram labels, coin-reactive ink, hidden microdots or images. On the top, we have the product identification. There we are in the area of serialization and aggregation. Out of these options, each producer should tailor its combined strategy to make the life for the counterfeiters as hard as possible. There are a wide range of technical possibilities, ranging from very simple to high complexity, from cost-neutral to very costly solution. This individual design options should be in conformity with the level of risk and the supply chain and distribution channels. Now we're coming to the project. The requirements for the project was to define at first where is the project located, centralized or decentralized, on the site or global. Aesica takes the decision that every site is responsible for his own project. Second, who will lead the project? Is it located at QA, supply chain, or production? At Aesica was the lead in the production area with a dedicated project leader. Furthermore, it is very important to have 100% support from your senior management. This project is linked to a high invest, and if the project fails, it has a big impact on your and our business. The third criteria was technology. The impact on the lines should be so less as possible in terms of line speed, integration of tamper evident, and space in the production. At least it is very important to build interdisciplinary teams here in all areas. Resources must be ensured, building a knowledge base in all areas. It's IT, production, planning, logistic, or quality, and at the end also packaging development. The goals for this project was to supply in the first wave South Korea, Argentina, and China with serialization and a full aggregation solution. The solution should be also future-proof for new requirements like EU, US, or Brazil, or Saudi Arabia. It must be found a profitable solution, and the service of the equipment and IT supplier must be assured. For our projects in Germany and Italy, we have hit many benchmarks. We installed 7 lines equipped with serialization and offline aggregation in Germany, 4 lines equipped with serialization and online and offline aggregation in Italy. We have also installed a serialization database and implemented a connection to SAP. The timelines for the German project was from March 2014 with the start of defining the project scope until December 2016 to install the latest version of our serialization database. The second phase started in April last year with the implementation of the last remaining lines with serialization, and for the main lines with a full automatic aggregation solution, ahead of this being a regulatory requirement. The scope of the project was to pack the product, apply the tamper evident label, print and verify the code, store the serial numbers in our database, and send the data to our customer database. Out of the scope was the upload of the data to any authority database. Before we started, the project have to be analyze our procedures. Then we have structured the existing flows and harmonized and improved the existing status. And then we implemented the additional process step of aggregation and serialization and defined a new process. Now we're coming to the implementation and realization of the project. At the bottom, we have our line components with our lines where we print and verify the codes, where we have the tamper evident label on the line. In the second level, we have the line managers, we have the local database for the serial numbers, and the control of the single devices on the lines. On the second level, we have the plant management system, where we have our centralized database, where we are storing all serial numbers, the status of the serial numbers, good and bad numbers, and also we have the hierarchy of the aggregation levels here, and also the audit trail. And on the top, there we have the customer database, or it could be any authority database. There we can offer a various range of interfaces to any other databases. Here we see a typical flow of a production order here of a serialized product here. At the start, we create a production order with the information of batch number, expiry date. Also, we assigning the line where the product is produced. In the second step, the production order will be checked and released. After that, the production order will be sent to the printing device on the production line. There we print the data metrics and the human readable text. There we will check this information and also apply the tamper evident label. After we have finished the production, we will send all this data back into our serial number database, finalize this production step, and release the next production step and provide all the information to our aggregation station. There we're starting the aggregation of each single shipper box and applying a SSCC label on this shipper box. After we have finalized this aggregation step on the shipping box, we will send the data back in the serial number database and transfer the starter data in our SAP system, where we are performing the complete pallet aggregation here at the end. And that is our interface then to any other databases. That is a typical interface design with one of our customers, where we have on the left-hand side all affected system at Aesica, and on the right-hand side the customer systems. More details about the integration aspect of our serialization capabilities you will get from my colleague Wolf in the next webinar in this series on the 24th January next week here. For the machine concept, it was for us very important to have a small footprint with an integration of a line management functionality, print and verification devices, a tamper evident label, a possibility to apply further booleans or vignettes, and easy to operate. And finally, to have a high reliable support from our supplier. We made some key learnings from this case study. From the early stage planning phase, it was important to include all process-related partners, building organization understanding and internal know-how, and considering aggregation in the serialization solution. It is also important to make a pilot project, since you need to install, qualify, and validate the technology. It is good to clearly define requirements from customers and interfaces. Also, add some extra time because integration of first machines takes longer than expected. In conclusion, we think it is essential to have reliable support from our service provider. And you should implement a solution that can go live as soon as it is ready for your current need, but can also be tailored with changing customer or industry needs. And now we have the results of the survey available, I think, and I hand over to Sarah to present.
Yeah, we do have the results of the poll question that everyone took earlier today. So that question again was, how prepared are you for serialization? 28% of the audience said they're somewhat prepared. 32%, the majority of the audience, said not prepared. And 20% said prepared, but they're in the planning stage, with another 20% saying very prepared and that their serialization solution is already in place. All right, well, thank you very much for your insightful presentation, Christian. I'd now like to invite our audience to continue sending in their questions or comments using that questions window for the Q&A portion of this webinar. And I have already received a few questions, so let's go ahead and get started with those. The first question today, which unexpected roadblocks did you meet, and how did they impact timelines of implementation?
When we started this project, country regulatory bodies were still finalizing their requirements, and we so need to keep flexible in our project specification. In addition, developing specific data interfaces for our customer is also time-consuming here.
Great, and have the processes which Aesica have implemented all been inspected by regulatory bodies? So for example, the FDA and the EMEA.
So far, inspection of our solution have mainly been driven by our customer audits. But we expect there will be inspection by regulatory authorities in the future as different legislation come into place in the next years. Yeah. There one more question.
Oh, there is one more question. Yeah, are your existing serialization equipment and processes able to be adapted for US and EU legislations? And is more investment required, and will you be ready for 2017 and February 2019 respectively?
Yes, your serialization system is ready and meets all of the known requirements today. We have designed a system that can be adapted to work with different regulations requirements. In fact, we have designed in flexibility which we believe will enable us to easily support future requirements and also requirements that we believe our customer will want. For this, it would be very useful to have more knowledge about the customer interfaces here. That will help us a lot to learn about more of our customers.
Well, thanks so much for those answers. We have now reached the end of the question and answer portion of this webinar. And if your question wasn't attended to during the Q&A session, the team from Aesica will do their best to follow up with you after the webinar. If you have further questions, please direct them to the email address now showing on your screen, and that's inquiries@aesica-pharma.com. And this webinar was part 1 in a 3-part webinar series, so please register for part 2 by following the link that I've sent to everyone through the chat box. Well, thank you everyone for participating in today's conference. You'll be receiving a follow-up email from XTalks with access to the recorded archive for this event. A survey window will be popping up on your screen, and your participation is appreciated as it will help us to improve our webinars. Now, please join us in thanking our speaker, Christian Gross. We hope you found this conference informative. Have a great day, everyone.